right, man.
Yeah.
I had to do the Anita real quick, get me in the mood, man. What's going on, everybody? This is Counselor, man. I'm here with my guy again, Pat. Politics with Pat, man. Today we're gonna talk and share a lot about what's going on. I know that it's not rocket science, it's not nothing new. I know that it's not something that you can't go and research yourself, but this is something where two brothers just, really going to talk about, chop it up because, not everybody want to go type in their phone and, oh, what's the government lockdown about? Or, oh, what's going on? So we're going to chop it up and get into that a little bit. Introduce yourself, Pat, May, and, we can get into it, man.
Yeah, I was saying politics with Pat. I like that. Need to patent that. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm Pat. Sitting up there talking about the political scene, ever changing, ever going on. Never a dull moment in America these days with the political chaos that's going on. So just here to give my little 2 cent commentary on it, and you know, keep it going.
So, so explain actually what is a government shutdown? What is it actually?
Basically, when all the federal agencies, anything that falls under that umbrella of being government run or government overseen, whenever there's a shutdown, then that means that they'll still be functioning, but for the workers, they don't get paid. A lot of them, like National Park Services, any type of federal employees, Social Security, that type of work, TSA, all of that. All those
Mm-hmm.
people fall under,
Yes.
federal
Speaking of TSA, when was the last one again? It was not too long.
2019,
16 was it or something like
2019.
19? Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember. My homeboy Mav, man. Shout out to Mav, bro. I'll get you on here too, man. His sister, man. Akeisha, she worked in there for that. His brother Kevin worked there. And I remember that time, man, when them days, where they was showing up to work, and eventually one of them kind of stopped going until whatever, health complications or whatever. Not complications, but health blessings, if you know what I mean. A health gift was occurring. So I do remember where like furlough, that means pretty much where like you go to work, you're not being paid, but you get it on the back end, right?
Right. Once the government reopens, you get your money, you back pay.
So explain a little bit about this shutdown. Like what's really at stake with this shutdown?
Basically, it's just a power play. The Republicans, I mean, going back to the last one in 2019, it really was focusing around Obamacare. The
Uh
Republicans, they've just been wanting to overhaul Obamacare ever since it went into effect over a decade ago, and claiming that they were going to have something to replace it with, which they not. It's just about
right.
trying to undo something Obama did, which Obamacare isn't great, and really, it's nothing more
Hmm.
than a Republican healthcare plan, really.
I knew you was gonna go there. So a lot of people think that because Obamacare and Obama's Democrat, that was a Democrat thing. But I remember, man, you talked about this numerous times years ago about that's actually a Republican plan. So,
Mhm.
you can elaborate on that as well in your
Yeah,
talk.
basically what it does is, you know, I mean, what Obamacare did, it took certain provisions away, like as far as if you had a pre-existing condition. I mean, that was one of the good things about it. Like before Obamacare, if you had a pre-existing condition, um, hospitals and doctors they could refuse you, service
Oh,
and you know um, treatment and things like that because they said it was pre-existing. That was one of the things that
right.
Obamacare did eliminate to say that you can't be discriminated against if you do have a pre-existing condition. You still have to be cared for. So that's one of the pluses of it. But overall, what Obamacare really is just putting more power into the insurance company, depending on where you live at, what network you have. You might only have a
Hmm.
limited amount of options for healthcare, and then they can sit up there
Hmm.
and charge you whatever whatever the rate is.
Wow.
So I mean, Obamacare, yeah, it did provide certain access to people who might not have been able to have health insurance before, but still
Right.
overall it still put the power back into the insurance company's hands, which I mean it wasn't a public option. It wasn't universal health care like Bernie Sanders has been advocating for forever. I mean,
Right.
America is the only westernized modernized country that does not have universal health care to its citizens.
Universal health. And wasn't that in a sense, not to cut you, but wasn't that in a sense like with a lot of diabetics, people with diabetes, they was going like to Canada or something at one point to get their insulin advanced because it was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
tremendously high.
If you ever seen Michael Moore's documentary Sicko, that whole
Uh-huh.
documentary is just about breaking down, comparing America's healthcare system to the rest of the world's. And they had a story that of a woman. I'm not sure if she was a diabetic. Um, she had some type of ailment that
Hmm.
her coverage wouldn't her insurance wouldn't cover her, or
Oh wow.
or the no, I think it was no, I'm sorry, it was the amount that her medication cost her, she couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
and so she lived in Michigan, right on the border of the American and Canadian border. And so
Hmm.
she had a friend that lived in Canada. And so what she would do every month when it was time to re-up on her medicine, she would just make it was only like an hour or so drive from where she lived at to get to Canada. So every month when
Right.
she needed to re-up, she would go up to Canada, go to a little clinic up there and get her
Uh,
medicine pretty much for nothing, you know,
mm,
and then come back, home and she would have it. And, that's really what she had to do because the insurance and just how much they were charging her for her medication, she was just like, I can't afford it, but I need it.
oh wow.
So, said the next best thing was I just have to go to Canada, once a month and,
Hmm.
get my medicine.
That's crazy, man. And it tells you, man, how like it's sickening that this is how that this is the way that the shit is. And it's like even comparing it to like free colleges and other places and things of that nature, man. In America is what the most richest, right?
That's what they claim. We're supposed to be the richest country in the world, but yet, you
In
know, you
in
have
the
so much
military
poverty.
budget. In the military budget.
Billions of dollars. I mean, what they spend every year on the military budget. They say Bernie Sanders also always talks about if they just cut the military budget a fraction of what it is today, we would still out match like 20 something different countries as far as what they
Dang.
spend in their military and what we spend in ours. And I mean, it's the
Mm.
military industrial complex. I mean, um, Dwight Eisenhower spoke about this in his farewell address after his presidency.
Hmm.
If you ever seen the movie JFK, the Oliver Stone movie, he opens the movie
Okay.
with his speech that he gives, and
Oh
he
wow.
talks about the military industrial complex, which is basically
Hmm.
the constant push for war and how
So they can make money.
yeah. And he was rallying against that. He spoke about that in his speech, saying that we cannot allow America to become a country that is dominated by the military industrial complex. And
Hmm.
really, when you look at the history from that, I mean, going back to Vietnam, uh,
Hmm.
you know, the middle war in the Middle East. I mean, you had,
Hmm.
the conflict in the 80s with
Yeah.
Russia and
Yeah. Is that
Taliban
the
and
Cold War?
yeah, yeah, you had that.
Okay.
Saddam Hussein. There's
Yeah.
videos
That
of
was
him
the
back in the
Desert
'80s.
War, right? Or
Yeah,
something
Desert
like that.
Storm. That was in that was
Yeah,
in the
Desert Storm.
early '90s. That war, and then of course, Iraq and Afghanistan, which we're still in Afghanistan. They don't need, we've been there so damn long. They don't even talk about. Um, I mean, no, so not Afghanistan. We got out of Afghanistan under Biden. Iraq is where we're still at. We're
Yeah.
still in Iraq. But
Yeah.
just destabilizing an entire region, killing up at this point millions of civilians, soldiers. You know, I mean, Bush lied us into a war,
Yeah.
attacked the country that had nothing to do with attacking us. I mean, Saudi Arabia. They were really the ones behind 9/11. 15 of those 19 hijackers on
Mhm.
9/11, they were Saudi Arabian people.
Right.
And you look at who we're in bed with, Trump, he took
Yeah. The
he took a
Saudis.
plane from them. The Saudi Arabia government gave him a plane that he's taken.
What the? Who was this that got the plane?
Trump,
They gave him a plane.
yeah.
Oh shit!
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah, I gave him a plane as a gift. He accepted it, and like I said, he's in bed with them. His son-in-law, Jared Kushner, he got $1 billion
Yeah.
after they got out of office the first time. $1 billion to sit up there do business with the Saudis. Um, they've bought in all kind of really trying to uh, white whitewash and sanitize their image of being, doing all these businesses with America. They bought the Live Golf League. They do
Hmm.
doing tournaments and stuff with American golfers. WWE.
Wow.
They go over there. They
Oh
doing
yeah,
shows.
them motherfuckers,
Yeah,
boy.
they
How
do a
much
couple.
they make off of that?
They make all kinds of money. They just announced they're supposed to be doing WrestleMania there next year, the year after next.
Oh
They have
wow.
a annual deal where they go over there a couple of times a year and put on shows for them and all that. And I mean, like I said, it's been proven that Saudi Arabia did finance what happened on 9/11, but
Oh,
you know, never went over there and attacked them. But you go
and
and
that's
attack,
because business and we in bid and
mm, but you go and
okay.
attack the country that had nothing to do with what happened on 9/11 and destabilize an entire region
Mm.
and get
Somewhere to point the blame.
and the real thing, the real sad part about it is got away with it. There was no consequences for
Got
that.
away. Yeah, that's the part. Got away with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna dive back into that whip. So what are the things that will be affected also, like SNAP benefits and things of that nature? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, well, I
I've
mean,
seen
already.
where like,
Go
uh
ahead.
huh.
Go
No, I
ahead.
was gonna say I've seen where like they'll like pause it until it opens back up, but you'll get like your payment for now. But if it continues, for it to come, then people will start to like not get their stuff, or in case
Mhm.
I'm not sure how that's
Yeah, I
gonna work.
mean, it really, a shutdown really, the way they're going about doing it really just hurting, people that's already been kicked down, people that's already struggling. I mean, they've already started, even before the shutdown, rolling back benefits for people with that, because of this
Mm,
bullshit tax bill. you know, um, just not caring about people that's in need. You're like retirees, senior citizens. I was listening to something yesterday, man, 75 years old, retired guy. He said he's dependent on, his SNAP money every month because he doesn't make a lot of money,
mm,
so he's like, I need
right.
that, you know, and you sit up there
Hmm.
playing around with that. And then, folks that, low income, they need that to, survive, to be able to, you know, get food and everything like that. But I mean, the government doesn't care about that. The government has never cared about poor people in this country.
It's an oligarchy, right? That's what you
Yeah,
told me
yeah.
before.
I mean, we are
Explain
totally
what that
living in
means.
an oligarchy where you have just a small percentage of people that have all the wealth, and the majority of the country is struggling. Just trying to
Right.
survive. Where it's just like it's a sickening system. It really is. I mean,
Hmm.
with this bill that they signed, it's given $50 billion in tax cuts to the rich. 50 billion.
Mm. Explain that in detail a little bit more, like what that means to people who don't understand. Like, what does tax cut for those like people
Well,
like
it
that,
means
like rich people?
well, it basically means like like regular citizens like you and me, we get taxed to death by the government.
Oh, I got you.
But you know, rich corporations like Amazon, like
Hmm.
FedEx, like UPS, where I
Hmm.
work, all these big
Hmm.
multinational, multi-billion-dollar companies, they don't pay anything in federal taxes. Nothing
Wow. Wow. So where does that money go?
in their pockets. Offshore accounts. Why? That's the reason why
That's okay.
That's the reason why Jeff Bezos can throw himself a $50 million wedding over in Italy.
Woo.
While his workers
Damn.
sit up there and struggle, you know, to get by working in these Amazon hubs. I mean, it is
Mm.
just out of control. The greed. I mean, it's just beyond sickening. The amount of greed. It's never enough for rich folks to just continue to just screw over working folks. And the system is so corrupt, and our government is so
Hmm.
corrupt that money The Supreme Court back in the 70s passed that law that basically said that money equals speech. And that really opened the
Mm.
floodgates to sit up there and say that every politician is for sale.
Ah,
And the more money that you throw at them, the more that they sit up there and do the bidding of their donors. Special interest
what
lobby.
was that saying that you always told me? I'm gonna get back to that, but what was something that you always told me, like a politician who makes money or something like that? What are they called? Or I think the president or somebody said it about it, or you
Anybody
told
that
me
gets
before, like
anybody that gets rich from politics, you
yeah,
show me somebody that gets rich
it's
out of
crooked.
politics, and I'll show you a crook.
And whose statement was that? Was that yours or
Oh no, I think that was Harry Truman, president.
Harry Truman? Yeah, the
Yeah.
president. Yeah.
Mm.
So you was about to speak on something that I cut you off, and I can't 100% remember that you
No,
was
no, I was just
diving
saying,
into about.
just the special interest lobby, like how all these
Yeah,
politicians in both
special interest
parties, what doesn't matter if they Democrat or Republican, they are for sale.
line.
But politicians spend more time
Oh,
fundraising and earning money than they do sitting up there trying to do the job for their constituents. I mean, how many emails? I can't say how many emails I get flooded with of, can you donate $5? Can you donate $10? It's just
right,
constantly money, 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 money. That's all it's about. I mean, if you took away money out of politics and got to the real purpose and the real origins of what being a public servant is supposed to be about, which is about serving the
right,
people that vote for you,
right.
we would see a totally different political landscape. But until we get money
Now
out of
I have a
politics,
uh-huh.
shit's going to continue to go the way it's been, which is not in the interest of
So
the
I,
regular
I got
vote.
a so I got another question for you. We spoke on this before. But I think it was Biden, right? He was trying to go like electric or economic, right, or something like that. Like a couple years back when he was in office, and they shut it down. I think one of the Democrats shut it down. Mansion or
Joe Manchin, yeah, West Virginia.
Joe Manchin.
Mm.
Why was one of the reasons why he shut it down? You told
Well,
me
because
before, but I want to
he
put
sits
that.
on the board of one of these oil companies, and
Ah, speak on that.
that's the problem. That's the intrinsic problem with our government, where you got so many politicians that are, enriching themselves. I mean,
Exactly.
you can talk about Nancy Pelosi. She's made money hand over fist overseeing certain companies where it comes with stocks. Now, like
Uh,
like like it's been alleged and believable that she has done insider trading. You know, there's
ah,
uh, there's she's got a tip on a stock. A couple of years ago, this was a story where a company's stock price was about to drop, and just maybe a month or so before it actually dropped, her husband, he had interest in that company, and conveniently enough, he sold his stock just before it flattened out. And a
uh,
lot of people wonder why. How, it's pretty convenient that he did that at the time and that he did just before the stock, dropped.
right.
And I mean, she was asked about it at a news conference, and of course she played it down and said, no, no, that has nothing to do with it, and it's just, he he decided to drop it because he had a feeling, and some bullshit answer she gave.
Right.
But no, I mean, it's a big problem with these politicians. They double dipping, and I mean, it's actually that goofy chick from Georgia, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's like a Trump cheerleader. I mean, one, say even a broken clock is right twice a day, but she has presented a proposal in government to say that politicians cannot uh, hold stocks while in office.
Oh,
She's
so
pushing.
that is right. So politicians are holding stocks right
Oh
now
yeah,
while they're in
yeah,
government.
mm, yeah.
Mm. And you said she pushed for it. Now, what happened with that?
It's slow moving.
Shot
You
down.
know, I mean, it's still out there, still out there. I mean, she's gotten some bipartisan. She's got some Democrats to come along and push for that to be made a law. that say that politicians
Uh,
cannot, actively be having stock and trading stock and then overseeing the same system that is overseeing a lot of that. You know,
but shouldn't that be approved? Because that kind of falls under like Trump, right? He cannot be an active CEO or something with his businesses. He had to turn them over to his son or something like that when he's
yeah, I
president.
mean that's a rule on the books. It's called the Emoluments Clause, which basically says
Uh,
that uh, president cannot enrich himself while in office.
and Richards, yeah,
But that's
family
all he's
guy.
done. That's all he's done. I mean, everything from them fucking Trump coins and memes and watches. I mean, he's selling all kinds of shit, you know. And I mean, just blatantly.
Jeez.
I mean, when he was in office the first time around, they went to the Supreme Court about it, and said what he's doing is in violation of the Constitution because it clearly says that a sitting president cannot enrich themselves while in office. And he's clearly been doing that. And the Supreme Court drug their feet on it up until he got out of office the first time and basically said, well, he's out of
Oh,
office now, so there's really nothing, really no point to
ah.
do about it, anything to do about it now.
So now, what would you say would be the reason for them siding with him, or like secretly dragging their feet? Like, did he have any interest with them, or
I
is it
mean, just
anything of that nature?
short answer is just that the whole system is just beyond corrupt. I mean, the Supreme Court, that's a whole nother issue with all these judges getting all kind of deals and trips and all that, not reporting shit.
Hmm.
Clarence Thomas, that rich Republican donor, said he had been lining his pockets with Clarence Thomas for years.
Hmm.
Sending him all kind
Oh
of
wow.
trips and all of that, and paying off his mother's house for him. Uh,
Oh wow.
Helping getting his nephew into some top um, Ivy League school. And I mean, all of
Mm.
that went unreported up until somebody did some investigating and came public with it. But yeah, I mean, it's just that's the system, and it's intrinsically corrupt. You know what I mean? People who get into politics and get into public service, they can do it for the good. They can start out with all the good motivations and reason to do it, but along the
Right.
way, you just get corrupted by the system and how it is.
Hmm.
You know?
Shoot. And that's why I say, like, man, it's sad and it's fucked up because it's like people blatantly, well, not blatantly, but people have an idea what's going on, but then people are just like blinded from what's going on. And it goes back to that saying that you always say, like, an underground voter is a politician's best friend. And I can own up to mine. I fall victim into not fully diving into it. Like, I get a lot of my information from you, or I'll get my information from news or news articles, and then I'll bring it to you, and we'll talk about it. But me personally, it should be more people that is like you, that's around, people that they can actually call, or they can actually go to and get real information instead of, just, bullshit or a bunch of static, or it's not adding up to what's fully going on, because I know that that's something that really dive into. I know that that's something that you really, take passionate about, of being informed of what's going on, staying in the know, of a lot of things, man. And it's like, it's sad. And the people that got to be affected by it, people that has families, once again, like I said, this was a situation where my homeboy's sister and, that her brother, she was expecting a gift, so she had to like kind of stop working, I think, at that time. She was working for a little bit, then she went out for a little bit. So it was like, okay, even though she got paid for the time she worked, and whatever the case is for when she was out, well, her brother, continued to work and work and work, and wasn't getting paid until after the fact. And it's like, man, I gotta be frustrated because, like, how does now? This is a question. How does that affect people like that? Right? Do like their rent get paused? Do their cell phone bills get paused? Water bill? Like, how do you think does that work? Or if you know?
I mean, overall, I think that, you can try to work with whatever as far as your bills go and try to explain to them the situation. Like, you don't have like money saved up for, something like this. But I
Hmm.
mean, I think all government, workers, should have some type of savings just in case, because, you never know
Yeah.
when the next shutdown going to be. So you should have a little something nest egg just to carry you over, if the next one should happen. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of bill collectors and all that, they don't want to hear that shit. They want to say, hey,
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I know them motherfuckers. They ring your phone like, nah, we don't care. The only time I ever seen Grace was during COVID. That
mm,
was it. Other than that, everything was just it was just shit. You know what I mean?
right.
So it's like I definitely understand and know how that goes. But it's sad, man. And there's people that work in that field, man, that is going to suffer. So I'm asking you a next question. If you had to guess as far as what you know so far about it and everything, how long do you think that this may last, could last, or
Well, I mean, I think that Republicans, they know they're going to catch the blame for this because right now they can try
yeah?
to sit there and point fingers at Democrats, but the
But they
Republicans,
run everything right
they
now.
they they they
They got
they they're in
everything.
total control. They own all three branches of government
Yeah,
right now. So I mean, this falls on them. I mean, I think about back in the '90s when they had to shut down under Clinton, and
I was about to say that too with Clinton. I was going to ask you
mhm,
about that. Go ahead.
yeah, funny enough, that's when him and Monica started messing around during that shutdown.
Oh,
Yeah, because they didn't have any White House workers really. They just had the interns, filling
oh,
in.
wow,
Uh, and so
wow.
that's how the two of them, got their little
You
affair
serious? Ain't
started.
that some shit?
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
it was basically like it wasn't like a lot of like actual people there. It was like just interns there. So like basically the White House was kind of like almost abandoned, you would say.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, I was watching a documentary about that, and basically, it's like Clinton, he was just walking around the halls, talking about how much he loved being around people and stuff, and there really wasn't a whole lot of people around during the shutdown. And he just happened to walk into the office one day and saw Monica there, and they started talking and this and that, and next thing you know, he's like, want to go in the office? And he's like, yeah, yeah. The rest is
Oh my
history.
goodness.
So,
That's
but
crazy.
but yeah, I mean, I think the Republicans they gonna own this. I mean, they can sit up there and try to put blame on
Hmm.
the Democrats, but they running everything in D.C. right now. This is all about trying to flex their authority and try to, you know, still trying to overthrow Obamacare and shit like that. I heard Trump talking about, he's going to threaten to do this mass federal layoff. If they don't come to terms and end the shutdown. Which I'm saying, well,
So
you
he wants to shut down the end.
no, well, he wants it to end under his terms and what he wants the Democrats to agree on,
Oh,
which the Democrats are saying they're not
oh,
going to agree to the terms that he is putting out there to end the shutdown. So it's basically just like,
uh,
well, he wants to sit there and exert his power and say, well, yeah,
uh,
I'll just start, firing all these federal workers and all that. So it's like, well, you
jeez.
can do that, but there's a consequence for that too.
Hmm.
And like I said, with this bill, it's already starting to take effect, but it won't fully kick in until next year. When you
Hmm.
really start seeing people really getting hurt. Like I said, once these like hospitals and all that start shutting down because they're losing federal funds, and
So the hospital. So that's one of the things that can also happen with that.
yeah, well, I mean, that's one of the things that's going to happen with this bill is because they just did
Hmm.
a massive slash of any type of service that's helping people. They cut,
Yeah.
all to give tax cuts to the rich. So once those funds stop, they're going to be without, and it's like they're not going to be able to sustain, and it's really just stupid because the ones that are going to be affected the most are Republican voters, people in the South, which vote overwhelmingly
Hmm.
Republican. So it's like you fucking over
Hmm.
your own base, and that's why they're doing it. That's
Oh,
why they're doing the shit they're doing now with this redistricting and all that, trying to add more seats to certain congressional
you
districts.
serious?
Yeah, they doing it in Texas. They tried to add like 5 different Republican seats to the district, all because
What?
they just trying to stay in power because they know that this bill is not popular. It never was popular. As much as they tried to sell it as it's going to boost the economy and put money in people's pockets and all that shit. I mean, short term.
So it's nothing. It's nothing positive in it. In a sense.
I mean, the short term. Anything that this halfway looking like it's going to try to help people is all short term, temporary shit, like the whole no tax on tip shit and all of that.
Yeah.
That's temporary. That's only going to last for maybe like 2 years. But those tax
Mm.
cuts, though, that's permanent.
Permanent. And
Yeah.
can it be reversed?
I mean, they would have to get a Democratic Congress to, try to overturn it and put forth something else in the tax bracket. But I mean, that's the
But
thing with the
that's
Democrats,
years down the line, right?
because I mean, yeah, I mean, and that's a if, because I mean, you look at where the Democrats are right now, and they still aren't that popular.
Yes.
I mean, I know
Exactly.
they counting on just Trump being so bad that there's going to be a big turnout next November in the midterms, but like you see a lot of people saying the Democrats aren't really offering anything. They sit up there and you know not even really putting up much of a fight for Trump. I mean, you got Hakeem
Hmm.
Jeffries, the House, the Democratic majority leader. He was basically saying like,
Hmm.
throwing his hands up, saying there's nothing we really can do right now. We don't got no power. I mean, we can
Mm.
come out here and talk bad about Trump and protest and all of that, but I mean, legislatively, there's nothing really we can do at the moment until we can try to, flip the House, flip the Senate, try to get back a some type of power dynamic. But I mean, for right now, the Republicans, they running the show.
Now, how do you feel um, as far as like Republican voters? I mean, Democratic voters. Do you think that they're motivated or not motivated, or it's just at
I
the
mean, I
point where
think
it's trash?
with the current crop of Democrats, there's really nothing to really get excited about. I mean, I think it's just a lot of
Mhm.
people that's just kind of feeling like a little despair and just helplessness right now because they just see the Democratic Party for what it is really just a feckless, pathetic, sorry excuse for a party when you say, how the hell did
Mhm.
you lose to this guy? Like
Mhm.
a 34 time convicted felon, twice impeached criminal. And it's like, you lost to this guy. And, you got Kamala Harris out there hawking that bullshit book of hers, kind of throwing, talking about she's burning some bridges. Cause, now
Oh my
she
goodness.
finally decided to grow a spine now since she's trying to sell a book.
Uh,
Talking about, she think now, looking back at it, it was pretty reckless for Biden to run again and all of that.
oh
It's like,
my
well,
goodness.
yeah, would have been nice for you to say that at the time, earlier, you
Exactly.
know, and, just talking about how we just didn't make that good of a case to the American people. I mean, we really didn't, speak to the needs of the people the way we should have. And, that's why we're dealing with what we're dealing with now. And it's like, yeah, well, maybe you should have thought about that before you sit up there and try to pay off every big name celebrity you could to come out there and,
Yeah, what was
talk up
that
for you
about,
and all
man?
that. And
She
just,
had performances and shit going on. Like, what the hell was that
yeah, yeah. I mean, to me, she just comes across as just like the
about?
worst kind of politician, you know. And I mean, they talk about what her future is politically. I think her career is pretty much DOA at this point. You know, there was talk about her running for governor of California. She bowed out of that race, and they saying she's
Damn.
trying to set herself up for another presidential run. Like, don't do it. Why would you
What?
want to do
You
that to
serious?
yourself? Yeah, I mean, there's still some fools out there that think that she, you know, has.
About that. About that real quick. Who else is in the upcoming race for that to be president? I knew a couple names was thrown out there.
I mean, right now, the two big names that people are sitting up there trying to prop up is oh, I thought you would say three.
Larry Hogan?
Um, no, Hogan, he's on the Republican side. He's saying he's
Ah,
sitting up there flirting around with another possible governor run. Which I thought that he had already
jeez.
served his term. I thought you could only do 2 terms in
Right.
Maryland, but apparently, I guess you can do more than two because
Oh.
they say Wes Moore right now he's really not all that popular. Talking about just
Ah.
the surplus. Like Hogan left him, I forgot how many millions of dollars surplus, but it was a good chunk of money. And
Oh wow.
when he came, when he came in 2 years ago, and now 2 years later, they say they don't have the state hardly have any money. That's why they got to sit up there and
What?
keep taxing shit. They taxing everybody to death on everything you can think of in the state. They taxing you on, even though he's saying he's not raising taxes. And
Oh my goodness.
but yeah, his name was on the short list. Wes Moore, of possible presidential candidates. But I mean, they're trying to. To me, Wes Moore is nothing but like Obama 2.0, really.
Ah,
And it's like we've seen that movie before.
and
But
he did a lot of fucking lines too, didn't he? With his shit.
yeah, background. A lot of questions about his background. That book that he wrote, claiming that he grew up in West Baltimore, and his father wasn't around, and he had this hard life and all that. There's another guy that he went to school with. His name, ironically, was Wes Moore,
Oh
and
shit.
he was a guy that really lived that life that Wes
Oh, he
Moore.
lived the real Westmore
Yeah,
life.
yeah, the one that he set up there when he was running for governor. That was a big story. I know
Uh,
Fox 45, they stayed on him about it. They actually interviewed two of the guy's relatives. 'Cause I think he's in jail. And
oh shit.
yeah, they interviewed two of his relatives about, the claims that he wrote in his book years ago, where a lot of claims in the book, how he was raised and where he was raised at, was brought into question.
Hmm.
And they said that, yeah, that's basically like, I think one of the dudes was his uncle. And he's like, yeah, he basically sat up there and took my nephew's life and sat up there and trying to claim it as his own, you know.
Dang.
And whenever they would ask him, he would get asked about it. Westmore, he always do that politician talk and shit and dance around shit and say, well,
Uh,
yeah, I did, grow up in Baltimore, even though I wasn't born here, because he claimed he was born in West Baltimore. It's like, you weren't born in West Baltimore, you were born in D.C. He's like, well, yeah, I mean, I claim Maryland though as my home. I mean, I did grow up here.
disclaimer.
Yeah, in my formative years, I did claim, became a Baltimorean, when I was in my youth,
Oh my
that.
goodness.
And
After he was called out on it, he
yeah,
wanna.
mhm. And yeah, there's some other shady shit that he wrote in the book talking about this cop that got killed. He claimed that the cop was kind of like a mentor to him growing up, and
Mm.
when he got killed, it really affected him. And talking about he maintained a relationship with his family over the years, and said that he was going to donate. I think he said I think he even wrote a chapter in his book dedicated to him, and
Oh wow.
said that he was going to donate some of the proceeds of the money from the book to his family. They
Hmm.
reached out to the guy's family, and they said they haven't received any money from him.
You fucking fraud. Mm.
So, like I said, there's definitely some questionable things with Wes Moore, and just like I said, he really hasn't earned any fans with just taxing everybody to death with everything he can, and I'm looking at him not to get reelected, honestly, as governor, especially if Hogan decides to run again. I think that
Hmm.
he probably just be one and done in the governor house, and
So for
so
so for state, is there any other names like your boy Brandon? Is he throwing any hints up your head or?
bullshit. I mean, really. Honestly, I'm looking for Brandon to get indicted at some point. That
Yeah,
whole
he's a crook, man.
that whole state.
My homeboy, right? My
Mhm.
homeboy Neil, right? He told me one time, he was like, "Man, that motherfucker a gang member."
Yeah,
Whoa!
yeah. I mean that whole Safe Street shit. There's a lot of questions about
That
that.
was a fucking front.
Yeah, a lot of
You
people.
was talking to me about that, like, well, so wasn't he under investigation for that? But he was like, they couldn't prove it or something. What the hell was going on with that? As far as like all this money that he was fucking getting,
Yeah,
and
well, I mean that's still an
they
issue. I
can't
mean,
like trace it.
yeah, I mean the thing is, Safe Streets. Sheila Dixon started Safe Streets when she was mayor. But his
Oh,
little organization, Monzi, that oversees Safe Streets, that's the corrupter right there. And I mean,
oh,
they're getting all kind of federal money, and yet they want to they want to not disclose the people that work for Safe Streets. He claims it's a safety issue because you talking about these a lot of people that were in the streets and all that, and they have the credibility to sit up there and try to stop violence and all that. And we don't want to out them and blow their covers by saying who they are. But at the same time, it's like people have a right. If I'm a taxpaying citizen in Baltimore City, and it's like my tax dollars are funding this program. I got a right to know where my money
Hmm.
going. And I mean, they had
Hmm.
the raids and all that. The Safe Streets location on Bella and Edison that got raided about 2 years ago. So
Yeah.
that
Yup.
was nothing but a front. One of the guys
I
actually
actually
got.
knew somebody that used to come down to the shoe store where I worked at. He used to come down and I think he ended up getting killed.
Oh yeah,
One of them guys got killed, I think, over west. Yeah, in front of a liquor store over there.
yeah. I mean, they said that they do try to weed out the bad ones when they are notified of anybody, because I mean the whole thing is like saying that Safe Streets ain't nothing but a front. The reason why
Yeah.
they got raided was because they was doing gang activities. So a lot of BGF dudes,
Yeah. There we go.
they fronting as they working for Safe Streets, but really they just out there, just stealing money and getting over, still in the streets doing gang shit and all of that, and being funded by taxpayer money. And Brandon is overseeing all that
Wow.
shit. And I mean, like I said, before too long, I'm looking for him to get indicted over that shit, because a lot of people believe that that Safe Street shit ain't nothing but a front. They ain't really doing nothing
Yeah.
to prevent no crime in the city or nothing like that. I mean, the shit that shit that happened at that Brooklyn Park shit that happened a couple years ago. They supposedly had
Uh
safe
huh.
streets. They supposedly had straight Safe Streets people there that night before shit popped off. That they had seen the young dudes with guns, but nobody notified the police or nothing like that. And then it happened the
Oh.
way it did. And the girl's mother, the young girl that got killed, her mother, she's been raising all kind of hell, rightfully so, about that. She's saying, what good is this organization if their job is to prevent, crimes and shootings, and they didn't do it that night. And my daughter died
Right.
because of it. You know.
Mm.
So like I said, Brandon ain't shit.
Now, as far as that, what would you say it'd be about like crime being down? Like, how would you speak on that? Like,
I mean, they say, well, murders are down. What they
murders,
talking
yeah,
about? Yeah.
murders.
Murders are down, but the quality of life crimes, carjacking still up, burglary still
Yeah.
up. Those are the crimes that really need to be addressed. Okay, yeah, the murder rate might have dropped. Pops up there talking about, yeah, it's because they ran out of people to kill. That's why ain't nobody killed no more. That's why the rate dropped. But no, I mean the quality of life crimes is still up every night. Every day you turn on the news, you still hearing stories about somebody getting carjacked, somebody getting
Yeah.
somebody getting robbed because of these young dudes out here, these young kids out here committing crimes. I mean, Ivan Bates, the state's attorney, he's really
Yeah.
made the push. I mean, if anybody should be credited for any type of improvement as far as crime goes, it should be him and that former state's attorney general, that they came in a couple of years
Mm.
ago and saying that they're not going to sit up there and be doing this um, soft on crime shit. This fucking you know what the shit that Marilyn Mosby had, saying a crime's a crime. You know,
Right.
little crimes turn into grow to big crimes. You want to stop that shit before it
Uh-huh.
happens. And so he's really coming forth with the they said the Al Capone style way about going about doing crime. When he took over office for her, when he got voted in, he was talking about any criminals out there in Baltimore City, they want to commit crimes, they better bring a toothbrush, because
Ah,
you get caught up, you go into jail. You know.
jeez.
And that guy Shiraldi had that guy that Shiraldi that Westmore had is the overseeing the juvenile delinquency program, whatever thing. Um, Westmore finally got rid of him about recently,
Mm.
because there was a lot of complaints about his tactics and his way about going about how to address juvenile crime, because he believed that nobody should be charged for a crime as an adult um, until they're at least 25.
Oh, wow.
Because he felt because
Wow.
he took some study that says that the human brain doesn't fully develop until about age 25. So anybody that does
Yeah.
anything criminal really is not mature enough to understand the full consequences or
Really?
whatever of what they're doing until they're that age. which a lot of people say that's
Hold on. So
bullshit.
he wanted to put this in effect, or he did
Well,
put it in effect,
he was
or
practicing that. I mean, that was one of the reasons why, he wasn't really prosecuting kids, because he's saying,
oh,
that, all these kids that keep getting caught up, carjacking and all that, all they do is just get slaps on the wrist. They get caught in the morning and then they get out, released to their parents that afternoon. I mean, there was one story where a kid, he robbed a store in the morning, got caught, uh, released him to his mother. That later that day, that same day, he went back to the same store and tried to rob it again.
what?
Hmm?
What the fuck?
And I mean, they were saying like that's the problem, that these kids aren't getting any type of real consequence for their
Punishment.
actions. They know what
Hmm.
the laws are, and then you got older people that's recruiting these kids to do shit, to do crimes, and they
Hmm.
say they know they're not going to get charged with anything for it because they're minors. So that's a problem too, and that's contributing to the shit.
Hmm.
And so basically, it's just like they're saying, what you got to do is you got to sit there and you got to have some consequences. Now, I mean, saying should a kid get 25 years of life for carjacking? No, but he should be put in some type of program where to say that, hey, you got to do community service. You are going to have to do some type of something. And if you violate that, then yeah, your next stop will be juvenile hall or something like that. Because
Yeah.
that's the only way they're going to learn. Because as long as they keep getting slaps on the wrist and really not having to face no consequences, why should they stop doing what they're doing?
So Pat, I'm gonna get ready to start wrapping it up with you, man. I want to get back into the shutdown thing. Um, so so for right now, would you see this being something that would be a long term, or like, you know?
No, I don't think it's going to be as long as the last one. I think, if anything, they probably, if I had to guess, I'd say maybe the last maybe a week or so, and then they
Oh,
probably
okay.
go ahead and open things back up, come to some type of agreement. Because, like I said, it's not doing Republicans any good. Because they can't, they can sit up
Hmm.
there and try to point fingers at the Democrats all they want, but the Democrats aren't in power. They are.
Hmm.
So
Exactly.
this falls on them.
And it's crazy because you say like the Republican voters is the ones that's really like being affected by it more, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're the ones that's getting screwed over, and like I said, the full effects of this bill hasn't kicked in yet. But I mean, they're starting to feel the punch. Like a lot of those farmers, I've already seen
Hmm.
stories about them. Even with the ice raids, and
Yeah.
rounding up all the Mexicans. I mean, a lot of the farm handlers talk about, a lot of those people worked in a lot of the migrant immigrants. They worked in their farms, you know,
Oh wow.
and they're getting snatched up and all of that. It's like, no, we don't have any workers. Because
Right.
that classic line of saying they do the jobs that other people don't want to do. So it's like
Yeah.
you get rid of them. It's like who's going to work them?
Mm. Wow. Um, I want to say thank you, Pat, for coming on. Once again, um, definitely an enlightenment, definitely an eye opener, definitely taking it all in. Definitely a great conversation, like we always have. You know what I
No
mean?
doubt, always.
It's still, it's still a lot more that we can unpack on things. Um, but I'm gonna just spoon feed the people. You know what I mean?
Right?
Give them a
Yeah,
little bit
yeah.
of
You
that.
gotta do it. You gotta do it slow.
But yeah, Pat. Once again, man, I appreciate it, brother, and we'll have some more coming up for you. Just stay tuned with it. Hope you have a great day, brother. Peaceful day. I know you gotta get ready to go back into the UP. So, I mean,
The old shithole quad. I'll be in there in a little bit. Mm.
so yeah, man, I appreciate it, brother. Have a good one, man. Enjoy your
Likewise, my
day.
man. Always enjoyed chopping it up with you. We catch you on the next one.
Right.
All right, bro. Later.